handheld gaming is in its golden age. I used to haul around a CRT monitor just to be able to play games anywhere. We had this old CRT TV/monitor left over from my dad's Commodore 64 days, and fairly often my parents would have me take care of our animals in the backyard. I'd drag that thing out there with my brother's GameCube and an extension cable into the shade of a tree nearby to be able to play The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I'd fairly often daydream about a Game Boy form factor handheld that could play the modern games, or even PC games like Half-Life 2 or Counter-Strike, or Gary's Mod. Heck, back then I would have killed to be able to play Minecraft on my internet-enabled smartphone of the time. I had this cute little flip phone that had a web browser. But the types of games on the things that I had never kept my attention for very long. Because I was raised a PC gamer on classics like StarCraft, Half-Life, Diablo, Quake, and Unreal, I always dreamed of playing like Wolfenstein 3D or Doom 2 on something more portable than my dad's IBM ThinkPad 385 with that little red nipple mouse. That was the state of handheld gaming for most of its history. There was a huge trade-off. You could have portability, but then you'd give up the experience, power, or controllability of PC gaming, or even console gaming. This video is sponsored by FlexiSpot and their E6G CyberX gaming desk, which happens to be the desk which I'm recording and sitting at right now, and the one I recorded the entire video at. I've had a few standing desks over the years, and the thing about this one that got me right away was how quiet the lift is. I'm used to mechanical groan when adjusting height. The CyberX just kind of moves. It's smooth, it's quiet, there's no drama about it. The joystick control is a nice touch too. It's tactile in a way that actually feels good to use rather than just being a gimmick. The tabletop has a carbon fiber texture with an ergonomic curve to it, and it's big, genuinely big. Dual monitors, peripherals, a cup holder that I use more than I expected. There's room for all of it and then some. The legs are 3-section with dual motors, so even loaded up, it stays stable through the whole adjustment of sit to stand. It supports 352 pounds, which is the highest load capacity FlexiSpot has ever built into a desk. There's RGB lighting along the edge if that's your thing. And it comes with a built-in cable tray and a headset hook to keep everything clean and off the surface. If you're in the market for a standing desk that looks the part and actually holds up to daily use, the link is in the description below. A huge thanks to FlexiSpot for sponsoring yet another video. We're already living in the golden age of handheld gaming. There's full, realized, big gaming experiences in your hands anywhere you want to go. From phones to handhelds to powerhouses, the evidence for this is everywhere. The numbers, the hardware, the libraries. But the more personal case is simpler. The thing that felt impossible when dragging around that CRT is now just normal for me. I play the same games on my Steam Deck that I play on my desktop PC. The defining shift isn't just portability. It's that portability no longer means a significant sacrifice. A little graphics or frame rates here and there, but for indie titles, which are rapidly becoming significantly better than AAA titles, the performance and experience is the same. And for some folks, handheld is the only way some people are able to game. Funny story, actually. I got the idea to dive deeper into the state of gaming and handhelds because of my brother-in-law. At one point, we were chatting about gaming, and he described himself as a big gamer. His wife would even poke fun during these conversations for playing so many games with his friends. He'd hop on voice chats and play for hours, she'd say. When I thought to ask about which game he was playing on and what platform, I was absolutely floored because it ended up being Fortnite on his cell phone. My first instinct was to make fun of him. You call that gaming? I sat with it for a few days and, well, Fortnite has 650 million users and around 100 million monthly active users across all platforms. The game running on his phone is the exact same Fortnite that runs on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Sure, the controls are terrible and the form factor less than comfortable, but it's the same general experience. My brother-in-law wasn't playing a lesser version. It was just playing on a handheld. Smartphone gaming is rapidly becoming the same experience as PC gaming in a lot of ways. Without the control superiority that keyboard and mouse provides, but the comfort and the convenience is undeniable. I should have known better, too, given my love of the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck runs full PC games, the same library, the same files. The ROG Ally and the Lenovo Legion Go do the exact same. The Nintendo Switch runs games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, titles that would have destroyed PC gaming if they had come out a decade or two earlier. VR has arrived on the handheld front as well. The Meta or Oculus Quest is a standalone wireless headset with no tether required. The cable-free dream extended to an entirely new dimension of gaming. As a kid, I would have killed for it. And I say that so much in this video, but it is true. Like, I love the portability now. It's incredible. Valve is working on a standalone Steam VR device called Steam Frame, and it's expected to run your Steam library as well. Mobile gaming revenue hit $92.6 billion in 2024, 49% of all global gaming revenue. It's not a niche anymore. Half of all gaming on the planet is happening on handhelds, like my brother-in-law's smartphone with Fortnite. It just works now. Reading into these stats made it feel like I'm an old man. And I'm objectively fairly young. SteamOS on the Steam Deck handles so well. You download a game, you play it, the system figures out the rest through Proton. The Nintendo Switch never has a friction problem. It's one of the most accessible gaming devices ever made. You pick it up, you dock it, or you don't, and you play. Smartphones need no argument here. Everyone has one. Everyone knows how to use one. The install friction for a mobile game is close to zero. I'm sure you have one on your phone right now. The barrier to entry for handheld gaming has never been lower across every single category. Battery life has always been an excuse to stay home and game. The original Game Boy was fairly decent for its time, around 15 hours on 2 AA batteries. But as hardware got more powerful, through like the Nintendo DS or the 3DS era and into early smartphones, batteries shrank relative to their performance demands. The era of disappointing battery life, I think, has effectively ended. Not because handhelds got less powerful, they got exponentially more powerful, but because battery technology and their efficiencies have caught up. The Steam Deck gets 3 to 8 hours depending on your load. For a device running a full PC game, that's a different category of result than what was possible just 5 years ago. The Switch lands in a similar range. Modern smartphones with larger batteries, particularly in gaming, focus modes, routinely hit 6 to 10 hours of playtime on demanding titles. The practical threshold for good enough on battery is roughly lasts a flight or a long commute without needing a charger. And the games are actually there. The worry used to be that handhelds had a second-tier library. Casual games, quick sessions, nothing you'd call a real experience. That's no longer true in any category. Nintendo Switch library is stacked with titles that demand attention, regardless of platform. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Skyrim, Elden Ring, Metroid Dread, Fire Emblem, Mario Kart 8. That alone has sold 70 million copies. The Steam Deck's library is, effectively, Steam. 100,000 plus titles. Every major PC release from the last 3 decades is there, or it gets there quickly. The platform doesn't require publishers to port or adapt anything. The games arrive by default because it's just a PC. Mobile has its own deep catalog of the players who live there. Genshin Impact, Call of Duty Mobile, Diablo Immortal, Baldur's Gate 3 via iPad, countless others. And now there's some PC game emulation using a couple different apps. Strategy games on mobile, this is a fun stat, produce roughly 21% of all total mobile revenue while making up only 4% of downloads. A signal of deep, sustained engagement. Something for everyone isn't a marketing line here. It's a description of what's actually in the library. The options have never been better. The ecosystem has something for every budget and every use case. The Nintendo Switch remains in market even after the Switch 2 launch, and it's still selling. Last I saw, it was 3.3 million units just in Q3 of last year. It's the approachable, family-friendly Nintendo IP entry point. The Switch 2 then extends that forward. The Steam Deck is Valve's answer for PC gamers like me who want their library on the go. It holds roughly 50% of the handheld gaming PC market, with the full segment estimated at 6 million units lifetime as of early 2025. That's chump change compared to Nintendo or even mobile gaming. And then the Meta Quest 3 serves the VR category at a standalone price point. Smartphones serve anyone who already owns one, which, last I saw, was nearly everyone. The handheld market was valued at $16.3 billion in 2024, and it's projected to reach $37.7 billion by 2034, and that's not including smartphone stats. The industry is voting with production and investment that this segment is not going to slow down. And a little aside for the tinkerers, for anyone who wants to go deeper than out-of-the-box experiences, the ecosystem around handheld gaming has become seriously impressive. 3D printing communities have been building entire libraries of custom mounts, grips, cases, and handheld setups tailored to every specific device. Print-on-demand accessory services mean you can source parts for niche configurations that no major manufacturer would ever make. The Steam Deck in particular has an active modding community, producing everything from custom shells to fan replacements. Combine that with Android smartphone emulation, which has matured considerably. With the right app and a Bluetooth controller, a modern Android phone can run all sorts of console and even PC games with pretty decent experience. I think I watched someone playing Cyberpunk 2077 on their brand new Samsung phone and getting over 30 frames a second. Mind-blowing. For a certain kind of player, the phone in your pocket is also a hardcore gaming handheld. Now, this layer isn't for everyone, but it exists. It's accessible and it rewards curiosity. This video is a love letter of sorts to the Steam Deck. I never really got into the Nintendo Switch. Compared to PC gaming, console gaming always felt compromised. But when the Steam Deck was announced, obviously I perked up. My whole PC gaming library on a handheld, running Linux and a full-on PC to boot. It felt too good to be true, and it ended up just smashing my expectations out of the park. The first time I played it, I think I lost 2 hours into it without even noticing. When that happened, I was laying in bed, and I realized my dream from childhood had come true. Cheesy, but true. The Steam Deck brought me back to gaming in a way nothing else had for over a decade. I think the first year that I had the Steam Deck, I played more hours of video games from my backlog than I had played in 10 years prior, all because I was no longer chained to it. Maybe it isn't a golden age for handhelds in reality because I think it's just going to keep getting better and better, but it has been for me. Has handheld gaming brought you back to a favorite hobby like it did for me? The handheld gaming market is growing at 8.8% annually. If you've already in this space, none of this is news to you. The thing you're doing is effectively better than it has ever been. If you've been skeptical, if you wrote off handhelds as a compromise, as something for kids or commuters, or a category that couldn't touch a real gaming setup with a gaming desk to boot, like I was, because it changed a few years ago and it keeps getting stronger. What's the handheld you reach for? And what are you playing on it? This week, I've been playing Slay the Spire 2, Balatro, and Diablo 2. I'd love to hear what you've got going for you down below. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.